Are JavaScript classes real classes? Understanding prototypes. Have you ever wondered how JavaScript classes fit into the world of programming? Let's break it down and see what makes them tick. JavaScript classes were introduced in the 6th edition of the ECMAScript standard, often referred to as S6. However, they are not real classes like you might find in traditional object-oriented programming languages. Instead, they serve as a more convenient way to work with JavaScript's existing prototype-based inheritance system. In JavaScript, every object has a hidden link to another object known as its prototype. When you try to access a property or method on an object, if it is not found directly, JavaScript will look up the prototype chain. This chain continues until it reaches an object with a null prototype, which signifies the end of the chain. Before the introduction of classes in S6, developers used constructor functions to create objects. They would then assign methods to the prototype of these functions. This method allowed multiple objects created from the same constructor to share methods efficiently. The class syntax introduced in S6 makes it easier to create objects and manage inheritance. It includes features like constructor methods, inheritance through the extends keyword, and method definitions right inside the class body. This is especially helpful for developers who come from class-based languages like Java or C++. However, it is important to note that the class syntax does not create a new inheritance model. It simply provides a cleaner and more structured way to use the existing prototype mechanism. For instance, when you define methods in a class, they are actually added to the class's prototype object. When you create an instance of that class, it links to the prototype, allowing for shared methods. Using classes can help make your code more organized and easier to understand, especially for teams familiar with classical object-oriented programming concepts. However, understanding prototypes remains essential. Classes do not hide prototype inheritance, they build upon it. When debugging or optimizing your code, knowing how prototypes work can be very helpful. You can also mix prototype-based and class-based approaches depending on your project's needs. Classes provide a clear way to handle inheritance and encapsulation, but they do not improve runtime performance compared to traditional prototype-based patterns. In summary, JavaScript classes offer a modern and cleaner syntax built on the prototype system. They are not real classes in the traditional sense, but they provide a useful abstraction for creating and managing objects and inheritance in JavaScript. Mastering both classes and prototypes is key for effective JavaScript development.